6 young, promising lives snuffed out just like that. They met with a deadly, horrible fate in a matter of seconds. They were in a speeding Innova. It crashed into the rear end of a truck in Dehradun. Bodies were completely decapitated, so bad that videos of the crash that we have been completely blurred out because we simply cannot put out these images on our screens. Body parts are strewn all over the road. Vehicle was completely mangled. 6 out of those 7 youngsters who were in that vehicle have died. 1 miraculously survived, but he's in a critical condition currently. Let's tell you about what exactly happened, this devastating impact of this crash that's shaken the entire nation.
The most gruesome, horrifying car crash in recent times. These are the mangled remains of an Innova car that was ripped apart after the driver rammed into a lorry and then a tree. We have had to completely blur out the footage because of how gruesome the crash was. Heads decapitated, body parts strewn all over the road. So what happened to the occupants of the car that led to such a gut-wrenching end for 6 young friends? These young friends were out for a late-night drive after one of them bought a brand new car. An attempt to race and overtake a BMW led to the driver ramming into the back of a truck in full speed and then hitting a tree. The girls in the car were standing with their heads out of the sunroof, and so when they crashed, their heads were decapitated.
सीसीटीवी फुटेज है, उसमें भी नॉर्मल ड्राइविंग दिखी है बाद में, और एक लास्ट का जो फेज है 500-700 मीटर का, उसमें जरूर गाड़ी ने ओवर स्पीड हुई होगी, तभी जिस तरह का डैमेज हुआ है वो ओवर स्पीडिंग के कारण टक्कर के बाद होता है। अब ये परिस्थितियों को स्पष्ट करने के लिए मुझे लगता है कि जो हम लोग सभी लोग दुआ भी कर रहे हैं कि बच्चा जल्दी से ठीक हो जाए, और बहुत सारी चीजें जो सवाल जगह जगह कयास लगाकर अपने अपने वर्जन आ रहे हैं, एटलीस्ट उस पर भी विराम लगेगा।
One young boy has survived the crash but is in a critical condition.
हम लोगों ने 6 बच्चों को खोया है। 6 बच्चों के परिवार सब इतने शोक में और इतने शॉक्ड हैं कि हम उससे निकल नहीं पा रहे हैं। एक बच्चा इस समय आईसीयू में भर्ती है जो वेंटिलेटर पर है। सभी मीडिया वालों से मैं ये निवेदन करता हूं कि वो इस बच्चे के प्रति सहानुभूति रखें और 6 परिवारों के प्रति सहानुभूति रखें।
But were the youngsters under the influence of alcohol? A video has surfaced which shows the group partying before the deadly crash and consuming alcohol. The cops have confirmed they are awaiting a report. But shockingly, there has been no case registered, as cops said they are waiting for a complaint from the parents. Kunal Kukreja, Atul Agarwal, Rishabh Jain, Navya Goel, Kamakshi and Guneet, 6 young lives snuffed out for a few seconds of road thrill. Bureau Report, India Today.
So there's no case also that's been filed in this particular matter because none of the parents have essentially filed a complaint so far. But let's tell you about what reports have suggested of exactly what happened that led to this deadly crash and so many young lives being snuffed out so soon. Now, there were 7 people in that car. This was an Innova, a brand new car essentially, and they were out to celebrate, and one of them had bought this car for Dhanteras. So they were celebrating on that, for that very reason, on that occasion in the car. All of them allegedly partied before the crash. They were together, having a good time, decided to head out for a late-night drive in Dehradun streets in that very Innova. Now, reportedly, there was a BMW that sped past them, and the driver of the Innova, also egged on by his friends, decided to overtake the BMW, so immediately hit the accelerator. So the Innova accelerated, and if you see where actually the accident happened, it's an intersection. They accelerated right at that intersection. And so, as a truck was passing by, the Innova rammed into the rear end of the truck. This happened at 1:30 in the morning. The impact of this accident was so bad that 6 people died. 2 bodies were completely decapitated. There's been 1 survivor, but he remains in a critical condition. There's a lot of reports that suggest that 2 of the people in that car were actually standing on top of the sunroof, which is why their bodies were completely thrown off upon impact. Is that really the case? We'll get you more details, but let's tell you what the police is saying right now. Now, the cops are saying that a water bottle has been found in the car wreckage, and they're saying that the water bottle was found underneath the brake. So the police is trying to figure out whether this water bottle actually led to the accident. Did this water bottle get jammed under the brake before the accident took place, leading to the driver struggling to hit the brake and therefore this kind of a crash taking place? So the cops are looking into that, for which of course they have to look into CCTV footage. There's no other way to establish if there was a water bottle that got jammed into the brake that made it impossible for the driver to actually slow down, and therefore to stop the car had to veer aside and hit a car. Let's tell you what the police is saying right now.
किया गया था, चूंकि गाड़ी काफी डैमेज थी, लेकिन जो भी एक देखने में आया कि जहां ब्रेक्स होते हैं वहां पर एक पानी की बोतल थी। वो घटना एक्सीडेंट के बाद वहां गिर के फंसी कि या पहले कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं हुआ कि गाड़ी चलते वो। ये बहुत सारी थ्योरीज हैं जो एक्चुअली टेक्निकल मायने में क्लियर नहीं हो सकती, लेकिन जिस तरह कहीं वो ब्रेक लगाने पर गाड़ी जैसे स्किड होती है, कोई ब्रेक के मार्क्स लगते हैं, वो सड़क पर नहीं पाए गए निरीक्षण में, तो ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ब्रेक्स यूज नहीं हो पाए या क्या कारण रहा। तो बेसिकली ये सारी थ्योरीज हैं, लेकिन अभी जो हमारी मेन प्रायोरिटी है कि कैसे भी विक्टिम हमारा ठीक हो जाए, जिससे कि हम बहुत सारी चीजों की जानकारी होगी और जो जानकारी होगी उसको ऑफिशियली हम शेयर भी करेंगे, जिससे कि भविष्य में ऐसी दुर्घटनाओं पर भी रोक लगे।
Okay, let's bring in Ankit Sharma, who's been getting us all the latest updates from the ground on the investigation. Ankit, details continuing to come in right now. You know, there's a lot of fake news, misinformation that's being spread on the circumstances of what led to this crash. But the police now saying that they found a water bottle that's stuck underneath the brake, and they suspect that it could have been the reason for this crash as well. But are cops able to confirm, one, if this vehicle was speeding and the circumstances of what led to this crash?
Well, yeah, the primary investigation says that it was a 1 kilometer stretch from where the driver pulled the throttle out, and that led to overspeeding, and the car rammed into the rear end of the container, and afterwards it went ahead to dash into the tree which was on the left side of the road. Now there are many questions floating on the social media. People are saying that there was a BMW who was racing against the Innova car, and that led to these youngsters trigger and a kind of adrenaline rush, and that is why they pulled the throttle and accelerated to such a high speed. The police has quashed this angle, saying that the we do not have any evidences of BMW as of now, because it would have also hit the container from the front. Now, talking about the bottle angle, police have found the bottle near the brakes, and they are saying that they are looking into the probable angle, whether this bottle got dropped after the accident happened, or was it actually before the accident, because there are no brake signs.
Just a quick follow-up question, Ankit. One, because you know there are a lot of questions about whether these youngsters were partying just before they went out on this drive, and whether they were in an inebriated condition, and that's what led to that accident. Any confirmation on that? Second, do the cops have CCTV footage?
Well, there are CCTV footages around the area where the accident happened, but the cops do not have the actual CCTV, because unfortunately, the smart city CCTV wasn't working that day, and that is also a matter of investigation, that what happened exactly, why the CCTVs weren't working. Secondly, we cannot say as of now whether these youngsters were drinking or that, though the video which has surfaced shows that there is a glass in hand of one of the people who died, but we cannot say that's a pale yellow color, so it would be an alcohol. This would come out after the post-mortem report and autopsy. The police is saying that we do not have any information yet, neither we have.
So we're waiting for those reports, and we'll see what really that throws up. Thanks, Ankit, for joining us with all of those details. Let's just break down for you what the cops are trying to establish right now. First, if whether the driver of that Innova car, in which all of those 7 friends were together, whether that car was overspeeding and so rammed into the rear end of the truck in full speed. Because cops are saying, look, it doesn't look like they were trying to overtake a BMW or anything of that sort. But what led to the impact being so bad? Were they overspeeding? Were the occupants of the car looking out of the sunroof? 2 bodies were found thrown away from the car, and there were reports that suggested that 2 of them were standing atop the sunroof, which is, by the way, illegal, and that's what led to their gruesome deaths as well. So that's something the cops are yet to confirm. There's a video doing the rounds, which I'm sure you've seen, of all of these victims partying. Now, this video, is it from the night of the crash? Is it a video that was taken just before they went out on that drive? That's still something the cops are looking into. And finally, the question of whether this accident was triggered by a water bottle. Did that get jammed into the Innova's brakes, making it impossible for really the driver to control the speed of the car? Those are all questions at this point that we don't have answers to, that the cops are investigating. Let me bring in on this broadcast Dr. Kamal Soy, who's a member of the National Board for the Safety Council of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on India Today. I'm sure you've been numbed by this incident, as is the rest of the nation, with the kind of footage and details that have emerged. But even as, you know, there's a lot of speculation that's happening here, and I don't want to go into that, but I think this serves as a great reminder for every single one of us who drive vehicles out, day in and day out, to follow road safety. Most cases you see speeding, you see this kind of overtaking, these races happening with no fear of the consequences.
Yes, first of all, this is really a shocking and disturbing and distressing incident which has happened. 6 young lives have been snipped because of, I will say, speed. If you look at the crash, it appears that the vehicle may be overspeeding or the vehicle may be speeding at around 120 kmph. So 120 kilometer per hour speed, and then I really don't understand that why police do not have the video footage, or the smart city cameras were not working. This is something, whether they want to hide something or
no,
they want
Dr. Soy,
to
they're
save,
saying that it's
save
not
somebody.
working. That the CCTV at the intersection, most crucial intersection there in Dehradun, wasn't working. So that's a lapse by itself.
No. They may be hiding something, you know. They may be trying to hide something, or they may be trying to save somebody. You said the bodies came out of the sunroof. For your information, I have not found any model of Innova which has a sunroof so far. So Innova doesn't have a sunroof. See, the bodies might gone have out of the windscreen because these guys, they were not wearing seat belts, it appears. And why all of them died? Only one survived, who was who may be a driver or somebody. Why the airbags didn't open? So there are a lot of questions. The new car, this has 8 airbags. And 8 airbags would have opened and they would have survived. Few of the children would have survived. So now these are the questions which we have to, we are looking for answers. Now, very important aspect here is, in Dehradun, the people, they don't have fear of being caught. So they thought that maybe whatever speed they can drive, they will not be caught, number one. Number two, it appears that they were partying and drinking and marrying. So there's no fear of being, if you're caught drunk and driving, so nobody is there to catch you. So these two fears were not there. Number three, which is very, very important, is now the automobile companies, they are always taking India as a dumping ground for automobile vehicles. All these kind of vehicles across the globe, in Western countries and in US, America and Canada, they have IDRs, that is Incident Data Recorder, all in their high-end vehicles. And IDR is something which briefs you what might have happened in the event of a crash. Like you have a black box in the aircraft, similarly the vehicles these days are coming with IDRs. So Incident Data Recorder is a must to understand what might have happened. And now the police out there, they're trying to investigate they should involve the experts to investigate this kind of a crash.
In such a case, Dr. Soy, you're an expert. You've seen multiple such incidents. You've studied them. You've analyzed them. The cops now are saying there's a probability of a water bottle having gotten jammed behind the brake, making it impossible for the driver to slow down the vehicle. Do you think that was the case, looking at the footage, looking at what's happened?
No, not at all. That is the remotest possibility. It is not at all. Because when the vehicle is being driven at 120 kmph, otherwise these many casualties, these many deaths will not happen. The vehicles were deadly overspeeding. So once you are deadly overspeeding, even now these people, if they were drunk, they could not spot the vehicle when they crashed into that tanker. So they crashed into that tanker at a speed of 120 kmph. And they could not have that kind of, the brakes were not applied. It appears brakes were not applied. So once the brakes are not applied, they didn't have any reaction time out there. So the 3 R's comes into fashion in the event of a crash. Number one is the reaction time. So when they might have spotted this tanker going ahead of them, they didn't have any crash in the reaction time to react to apply brakes or to or they might have been talking and discussing or partying or dancing in the car. So those are the reasons why they were distracted, or somebody may be using a mobile phone as well. So the
it's unfortunate, really,
is the
what's
main
happened.
cause.
Yeah, so you're saying it was, that they were distracted. You're saying it's unlikely that really, there was anything that was jammed up against the brake that made it impossible to slow down. You've raised some pertinent questions, Dr. Soy, but I also believe that the takeaway with our conversation is that people must follow rules, ensure your safety when you're seated in the car. Wear those seat belts in the back seat, in the front seat, it doesn't matter. That could have saved lives even in this particular case. So that's very crucial that we follow those norms. And unfortunately, we're having to reiterate something as basic as this. Thank you, Dr. Soy, for joining us here on India Today. Breaking news that's coming in after the PCB, the Pakistan Cricket Board, announced that they'd be having a Champions Trophy tour that covered several parts of POK. The BCCI Secretary Jay Shah reportedly intervened, spoke to the ICC and sent across a strong objection condemning the move to have this trophy tour in cities of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. A message was sent across by the BCCI, by Jay Shah, directly to the ICC, saying that stern action should be taken against such a move. And remember, you've got the ICC that's intervened, that's put that trophy tour on hold. So now the confirmation has come in that the trophy tour schedule will be announced only via the ICC, and the ICC, we're being told, has gone ahead and cancelled the Pakistan Cricket Board's schedule, what they had originally put up. So is that the ICC has acted after the BCCI's intervention? Because sources tell us that BCCI Secretary Jay Shah sent across a very clear message objecting to the fact that this tour covered 3 cities of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And with that news break, I'm wrapping up this edition of 6 p.m. Prime. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great weekend ahead. I'll see you same time on Monday.